Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Document, and the Ad Council.
This is the Talking Information Center, a window to independence through local volunteers reading over 300 newspapers, magazines, and books specific to your community.
Now available on your smart speaker by saying, play radio station Talking Information Center.
For comments and more information, call 781-834-4400 or visit ticnetwork.org.
Thank you for listening.
WBBF Middleboro, WRS Middleboro, WRSLP Pittsfield, WLO Londonderry, WBAA Athol, WDJM Birmingham.
We are AM 1530, WVBF, Middleboro, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleboro Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Ron Taylor.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 49. The nomination is confirmed.
And with that, Senator Ashley Moody of Florida announcing the U.S. Senate confirming Todd Blanche as the next U.S. Attorney General. The 50-49 tally came early Saturday morning after a bruising confirmation fight that exposed deep concerns in both parties about installing President Trump's former personal attorney atop the Justice Department. Florida Senator Republican Rick Scott tells the Salem Radio Network mainstream Democrats he knows on Capitol Hill have lost their way and are intimidated by the socialist wing of the party.
They're scared of Mondami and AOC. They vote like Mondami and AOC would vote. And so they've lost their party. They can't stand up for themselves. And so even if they're not radical, they're voting radical because they're scared to death. I mean, Mondami and AOC run the Democrat Party now.
Yeah. Vice President Jim Vance telling the Hugh Hewitt Show on the Salem Radio Network his brand new book, Communion, focuses on his personal faith journey and how it's okay to question your faith.
God works through imperfect people. And so the argument is not that the church is perfect. The argument is not that the church always succeeds in its effort to help people and to serve people. The argument, though, is that this institution, in its very imperfect way, does reveal something about Jesus Christ and his love for people. And you have to be able to accept the good and the bad in the same way that you have to be able to read the Bible and say, well, King David was this terrible guy, and yet he was the chosen person to kind of implement God's kingdom at that time in history.
Shanghai's two airports have canceled over 1,300 flights as China braces for Typhoon Dolphin. Authorities have relocated around 300,000
Typhoon Dolphin
in surrounding areas.
How do I come up with these names?
And analysis at townhall.com.
Mariota here. When it comes to supplements, two things matter most: that it works and that you can trust it. Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, we'll let our customers do it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Joni shared that before Relief Factor, her husband couldn't open his hands in the morning and had to give up playing guitar. Now he wakes up with flexibility and he's back to playing music. They are both recommending Relief Factor to friends as a way to enjoy things they love again. I know that feeling. I take Relief Factor every single morning for my back issues. I don't take it, the back issues come back. Now they make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor helps you enjoy what you love. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com, or call 800-4-RELIEF, 800-4-RELIEF. You'll connect with our friendly local team, and they will do everything they can to help. We hope you'll soon be sharing your story with us as well. relieffactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF.
The son of former President Joe Biden has an update on his father's health.
Hunter Biden says his father's prostate cancer has spread to other parts of his body and is causing him pain. In an interview with the BBC broadcast late Friday, Hunter Biden grew emotional.
I don't know how to
talked
do
about the health of former President Joe Biden,
President of the United States.
His cancer diagnosis in May of last year, less than 4 months after he left the White House. Hunter Biden says the diagnosis has been tough on the family, saying it's really sad to watch. But he says, I wish he would complain more because it's not good. He says his father is still doing his thing, though, speaking publicly about the issues that are important to him. Donna Warder, Washington.
In a landmark ruling against Meta, a New Mexico judge likened the company's social media platforms to factories. Psychological harm to children who use Facebook and Instagram, he said, can be seen as their pollution. More news at townhall.com.
Well, sometimes in the lower
Major
stages,
cereal
you don't
company is
see the
speeding up their plan to
symptoms.
drop
The symptoms
synthetic
are
dyes
are
from
less.
cereals a year ahead of
President of the
schedule.
United States.
WK
Sure, I get it. I get it.
Artificial colors
You
from
gotta look at it
cereals by the end of this year. It's
From
also invested in a
the regular
to help make the
aspect of it.
transition to natural
Yeah,
because of
colors.
the
In
because
addition,
of the
Kellogg
symptoms.
says it's removing BHT,
What
an
symptoms
artificial
are there
preservative,
in
from the small
different
number of
stages?
cereals. That's still
Like he had
the
stage
company
4
has faced pressure
or something
for
like that, right?
years to
So
remove artificial ingredients
those
from
are pretty
its cereals.
severe
That
symptoms.
pressure has grown.
And
under
Grandpa
Health
had those
Secretary Robert F.
severe
Kennedy Jr., who's urged food companies to phase out petroleum-based artificial dyes.
Why,
Marcela Sanchez.
2 people are confirmed dead.
did we
after
not
firefighting
know
broke out
about
in
it
Francis,
sooner? Because
Utah.
it was
FAA says
the
2
symptoms
people on
were
board the helicopter
less,
was
a
helping
lot
crews
less.
fight a wildfire near the town of Richfield Friday morning. More on these stories
Sometimes
at townhall.com.
with that,
I'm Ron Taylor.
you don't catch it until the symptoms are really bad. Because sometimes the symptoms don't, show up. And I don't know. I don't begin to say that I'm an expert on this. That's just my guess on it. You're yellow, Mike. That up. I'm blue. That up.
Yellow mic, yeah.
Yep, I know. I was looking in your direction. Get it.
You're awful lucky today, aren't you?
Won't talk back and maybe I won't.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
278, right? No, 27.
Hey, Joey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Weekend Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WBF.
Oh my gosh, some of
Hey,
these
Joey, what's
things
happening?
I have to pronounce on these on the thing history. Okay, I gotta put my game face on here. Good morning, everybody, and welcome in to Middleboro Review. Today is the 9th of August, 2026. I'm here with Don, as always. Good morning, Don.
Good morning, Joe.
All right, I gotta put my game face on for today. The Today in History is
Game
today.
face?
My game face.
Your radio face?
Yes, I gotta pronounce some of these names as correctly as I can here. All right, our Today in History's birthdays, passings. We'll start right off with that.
Well, I think you do a pretty good job.
I do.
I mean, Taunton is Portuguese community,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you handle those names pretty well. Over the last year, so don't beat yourself up.
It's gonna go slow, 378 during the Gothic War, Battle of Adrianople, a large Roman army led by Emperor Valens. It's defeated by the Visigoths. Valens is killed along with over half of his army. And this was really, this battle here kind of started to signal the end of the Roman Empire. Roman Empire would fall, I'm trying to remember what year. It was in the 400s. So really not too long after these battles started to happen with the Visigoths, really started to get bad for the Roman Empire around this time. 1610, the first Anglo-Powhatan War begins in colonial Virginia on this day in 1610. On this day in 1854, American transcendentalist philosopher Henry David Thoreau publishes his memoir, Walden. On this day in 1936, during the Summer Olympics, Jesse Owens wins his 4th gold medal at the Games. And that was, of course, the famous Berlin Summer Games, Don. The one that that guy from Germany, that military leader from Germany, was front and center on. And watched the Americans win several gold medals. So that must have not made him too happy, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a yeah.
Yeah, exactly. 1944. The United States Forest Service and Wartime Advertising Council release posters featuring Smokey the Bear for the first time. So happy birthday, Smokey the Bear. 82 years old today. Obviously, you know one of the most famous voices that voiced Smokey the Bear, Don, Sam Elliott.
Right.
Sam Elliott voiced him, and still does voice him as perfect. That is absolutely perfect voice casting.
Hey, it doesn't get any better than Sam Elliott.
Absolutely.
Sam Elliott. Other voices out there, James Earl Jones, unbelievable, and Robert Loggia.
Yes.
Yeah, they just have the voices. They just tough guys. I don't know, they're just good voices.
Okay. Now, today also is August 9th, which means we have a really important day in history. August 9th, 1945, during World War II, Nagasaki is devastated when an atomic bomb, Fat Man, is dropped by the United States. B-29, Boxcar, 35,000 people killed outright, including 23,200 to 28,200 Japanese war workers, 2,000 Korean force workers, and 150 Japanese soldiers. One of those planes that was piloted by an American from Massachusetts. I don't remember which one, Don. Do you remember which one off the top of your head?
No.
I don't know if it was this one.
No, you don't know without looking at a.
Exactly.
You know who would know that is Jim.
Jim would know.
Jim would know.
Give us a call. One of those planes was piloted by.
I mean, you can find out now, but that's but you could have
But
somebody.
we're on the air, so.
Jim's phone could be like broken and disconnected, and you'll get everything you get from Siri or any of that AI.
Exactly. But one of those planes was piloted by a pilot from Massachusetts. Let us know which one. 508-822-1106. Give us a call. A little trivia question, I guess, for today. I don't know if it was the first bomb or the second one. Anyway, that's that today in history. That's a very important today in history, Don.
Yes.
On this day in 1974, it's a direct result of the Watergate scandal. This is another big one too. Richard Nixon becomes the first president of the United States to resign from office. Gerald Ford becomes president. Now, we almost had President Spiro Agnew. However, he resigned several months before.
Yeah. It's funny, too, because Gerald Ford was just a congressman, and then he became vice president after Spiro Agnew resigned. And then when Nixon finally resigned and Ford took over, we didn't have a vice president until December. Who was that? Who was our vice president? Who replaced him? Come on.
Yes, Rockefeller.
Nelson Rockefeller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
December 74.
I'm pretty good. At
I think it was December. I think it was a month later. It was a couple months later. So after that, I think they knew that you have to have a vice president right away.
Exactly. You have to have a replacement right away.
So
Yes. All right, our birthdays for today. 1928. Bob Cousy. Bob Cousy was just honored by the state recently by Governor Maura Healey. There's a bridge in Worcester that was renamed after him.
yes,
And forgetting which interstate off the top of my head.
290, I think.
290, yes.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, 290.
Yeah, that was just named after him. So that's awesome. His birthday is today. He is 98 today. 98 years
Yeah,
old.
it must have been so cool going out because he had that about a month ago. Or 6
About a
weeks
month. About a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still very, very active.
Is he?
Yeah, he's still very, very active around the team as well. I believe he got his own ring actually. For the last time the Celtics won the championship, they gave a ring to Cousy, which is really cool.
You know,
really cool.
a lot of people don't realize a job of a governor or executive official like a governor, president,
Mm-hmm.
because all the work they do, balancing the budget and wrangling with the legislature and dealing with everything, they still got to go out and do these dedications
Mm-hmm.
because it's part of the fabric of what a governor does. So I mean, a governor is really busy, So I mean, as far as people mouthing off the politicians, I think they need to. People who do run their mouth, in my opinion. I mean, even if it's not a party you agree with,
Mm-hmm.
they still work hard and they're still people.
Yes.
So I mean, just pull get the disrespect out of our veins. And I don't remember people being so disrespectful to public servants than in the last 10 years.
Mm.
So
It's gotten
well,
worse.
you know what? Politicians fight among each other. That's their job.
Exactly.
But I mean, as a citizen looking at somebody or whatever, you have to realize that your fellow statesmen or people who lived in your state voted this individual in. So I mean,
Yes.
it's the people you deal with. It's your doctors. It's vice versa. You have to show a respect of that department,
Definitely.
even if you don't agree with it.
I agree.
Don't fall into the whole name calling and all that stuff. Just to be disrespectful. I could see two politicians going at it. Let the games begin. That's
Exactly.
let the games begin. That's politics in America.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who's jumping up and down, go read back. They get offended because their person was whatever, or someone said something about your favorite president. Just go back and look at politics. Read up on politics and all the nastiness of politics. But that's in between the people. But as far as citizens,
Mm-hmm.
these people, were voted in by other citizens, your neighbors. So, I mean, even if you don't agree with the person, show it respect. This is our government. You have to show it. You just can't just walk all over the way we do things just because a certain person was voted in. A certain person was voted in because that was how the vote tally was dropped.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's just get a little respect back into the thing. I'd love to meet any governor or any representative.
Any politician, period.
We had lunch with a state representative just on Friday.
On
And
Friday.
it was
It
great.
was great. It was a great conversation.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking and I'm talking I kind of drooled them out when it comes to transportation.
You did.
But I mean, most people are just like, oh, no, they fall asleep when I talk. But this person wasn't, because this person was part of a lot of transportation now.
Exactly.
So I mean, you need to slow down before you start running. Social media is terrible. People just running their
try to
mouth.
avoid it. I try to avoid it
I
as
don't
much
know.
as I can.
I mean, are you really saving the world by posting stuff on Facebook and all this nastiness?
I hate Facebook. I hate it.
You sit there, you sprout out on somebody, and then you go to meet the person, and you find out that you like them, and you have more in common than you think. All right.
Yeah, I only keep Facebook because I have a couple of friends that I keep in contact on there.
I like
with,
Facebook because of family stuff or whatever.
and
I see
and,
my
people I've had on the show.
I see my pictures of my niece and and my great niece. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's great to see those pictures and stuff. I just saw one yesterday. You know, looking like our mother every day. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but it's just like it's so easy just to run your mouth.
Yes.
You know, what about a serious debate? We've talked. You know, We've had that conversation with Ed Miller and Tony Branch about serious debates,
Mm-hmm.
real debates, professional debates, not just running your mouth and name calling.
We could have it. We could have Ed on again on this show at some point down the road. Maybe we could do it in September. Gotta have him on again. That would be a great show, a great debate.
Just a great show. I mean, you definitely tune in at 12 noon here at WBBF 1530.
Yeah, 12 noon. Check it out.
To check out Stand Up Strong. Anything Brockton political you want to know. I love Tony Branch. I love them both, but Tony Branch, oh my God, he just brings things out, and it's so fun. It's just the joy in his voice, and both of them back and forth. It's like they remind me of like the Odd Couple there. You know, that show, The Odd Couple. You know what I mean? But they're not. But they're good guys, and they've been working together as long as we've been here, as long as you've been here.
Yes.
Had the same show, well, it used to be at 2.
Used to be at 2. It's now at 12.
When Jim Larkin did Sounds of Them Wild. And it's funny too, because not to keep running my mouth here.
That's
I'm
okay.
not sure, but I did find the CD that he did for my mother.
That's good.
I was listening to it the other day, and you were on it, and it was funny because I was heading down to Florida. I was in New Jersey when it was 12 o'clock. I remember when the day I left.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 7. I followed you in, made sure you're all set, give you a hug, headed south, and he picked out the songs. It's like he knew the songs to pick out, and I got help from my cousin Peggy, and my cousin Margaret helped me. My cousin Elizabeth helped me on the songs that. But my cousin Peggy sent me like a whole list of songs that they might like, and then I gave them to you, and he did them. Talk about honoring someone you love in a radio show, and talking to you and interviewing you, and that was like, if you could look at something in your past that was so meaningful to you, that would be it.
Yes.
That would be it. So, I mean, it's Jim Larkin. I definitely miss him.
I miss him too.
Coming in here at 12 o'clock, and he'd always have a smile on his face. He loved you.
Yeah.
He trusted you enough to run a show live a few times.
Yeah.
And you were the last one to technically
last show.
You did it live, right?
Yes.
Before,
did.
Yeah. Before it was off.
Yes.
You know, but we miss you, Jim. Jim Larkin, Sounds of Immoral. And thank you for everything. I was thinking about him, and it's kind of quiet,
And
not having him come in, because he'd come in. What time did he come in? About 10:30, 11 o'clock, and start getting his show ready and talking, and he'd be picking his brains about the new stuff, and he'd be trying to put his show together.
And we can say the same thing about Tony and Bob Newhall.
Yeah.
As well.
Tony Lopes. Yeah.
I miss Tony. I miss Bob.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Tony, that's one who hired you. He was your mentor, Tony Lopes. And then we're talking about wasn't it last election season you helped him with a lot of the political ads here, WBBF, obviously around election time.
And Bob Newhall helped Ed Wave with that too.
Right.
I did see Bob Newhall around
the
station with that too. So.
And they always called you looking for your help.
Absolutely.
And you never said no to these people. And they could always count on you. And that's something to be said, because everyone gets caught up in their lives and stuff like that, but you never forgot who helped you out, who got you along, who started you up.
Exactly.
And you stayed true, right to the end of their professional careers. You ran the board for Tony's last show. It was back last November, day before Thanksgiving. And I remember we're talking about you and I going to the Guthrie Center for Thanksgiving, he was like, I was always really happy about that. And it was good because I was here too, and I sat down for his last show. And it was important that we were here for his last show. And we were hoping it wasn't. It shouldn't have been his last show. I mean, he's so used to some people coming back from Florida and setting up shop and having him here, or just talking to him, going to his house, got to meet his family. His family, likes me, and I really thought losing him was rough when I got that phone call last January, and but
It was shocking.
you're right, but it's just like you get people.
And same thing with Bob too.
Yeah, we got the call about Bob. Yeah. And Bob was here a long time, and he was always nice to you. But it's just important to remember the people who, because before you know it, you're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost somebody we love, Uncle Ed. You know what I mean? Got the call from my buddy, and Uncle Ed died. You know what I mean? And it was another dark January day. And you're so used to having these people here, and then when they're gone, it's really. I'm sure a lot of the listeners know what that means. But as far as a working community, a radio station community, people who taught you, people who believed in you, people hired you at such a young age, all you could do is every once in a while talk about them because it's important, because they had a lot to do with the way they shaped this radio station, this community, and everything else. And it was always good. I mean, because especially in talk radio.
Yeah.
If you can hang in there and talk radio.
Exactly. I've done it multiple times. So
you got your chops. It's good that you get your chops, and
next July will be a decade since I've been here. So
really,
yeah, it'll be a decade. Yeah, July of 2017.
Yeah, July 17, 2017, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. That's the
Right.
16th, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And Ed Rand is another one. He's the
Exactly.
one. He's the one who he had a show going. Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with him. He helped me learn the board, and then I did a football game with him. That was fun.
What was good about that? That was our first football game that we didn't do football. We didn't go to see the game because ever since you were like 8, we always went to the Thanksgiving game, and then at 12 o'clock, we always, just like we told Mo Guthrie, we were always near a radio to listen to Alice's Restaurant. That was just part of our Thanksgiving thing.
Yes.
And I think it was 2016. You weren't even here. When did you do that? 2019.
2019, I believe.
Yeah, it was before the pandemic. 2019. You sat in the booth with Ed Rand, and I listened to it. It was just like it was new to you, but I always said, and I learned this from somebody who told me, learning how to sing. Less is more, Johnny. Less is more. Less is more. And it's true. And he's done it so many times, but you throw these questions in a little at a time and backing off, and you work your way into it pretty good as far as being pretty green going in and probably being nervous. How many people will listen? Probably a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And did he ask you to sit in with you? Ed, you must have, huh?
What, for the football game?
Yeah.
No, this was a last minute change.
All right.
This was a last minute change. I believe originally it was supposed to be Ed Rand and Johnny Ray, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was a last minute change.
Right. Leave it at that. Right?
Leave it at that.
But that's how you get your big break. You bring them in, and you got to be ready with your chops to get going.
All right, it's 7:30. It's 7:30.
In the morning on a Sunday here at
the hour just flies by.
28th Century Studios here at WVDF at Hong Kong City.
The 32nd century.
Yep.
In the words of Barry Sanders.
Roseland Ballroom. I feel like I'm in the presence of Sammy Davis Jr. and all the people who played here. Everybody. They played here too?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it, who's a who's. Everyone's played, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. 7:30 a.m.
But I feel like a Rat Pack moment here. I was wondering if the Rat Pack ever played here, like Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Frank
I don't know.
Sinatra.
It's a good question. I'm sure there's someone out there that knows. Give us a call, 508-822-1106. We'll be right back about 5 minutes or so after the news.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. The Senate confirming Todd Blanche as the next Attorney General.
It was by the narrowest of margins and overnight, but the Republican-led Senate has confirmed acting Attorney
J.D.
General
Vance have to
Todd
break
Blanche
down
as the new Attorney
Break it.
General.
50 to
in a
49, so I'm
50-49
assuming
vote.
so.
This after Republican Senators Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska said they would oppose Blanche's confirmation. Blanche says on social media that he's deeply honored by the trust and confidence.
Gotta work with these
President
people because they're gonna get
Trump has placed in
reelected.
me,
So
and that he's grateful to senators working late.
Well, sometimes they have to, so they
Donna Wood,
can.
Washington.
Republican Senator Dave McCormick of Pennsylvania
Yeah.
says
Meaning,
the
if
Democratic
Susan
Party
Collins
is
had played
moving forward what he
ball,
describes
put in the
as
back of my group, but I
dangerous
can't because I gotta get, you know,
This is
I
not
gotta
a
get reelected.
stream of
So at the end of the
Democratic Party.
day,
This has become the
doesn't
mainstream of the Democratic
as long
Party.
as
It is
know,
anti-law
Republicans,
enforcement, it's
Republicans, Susan
anti-military,
Collins,
it's
you know, they get the
anti-terrorism.
I think you're right about Fetterman. I think after the election he's gonna flip.
Made his comments to the Salem
I think you're right. I think he's gonna flip after the election, after he gets reelected.
Serbia for
Yeah,
Tucson economic ties
they gotta
and
try to
security
primary
issues.
him on the
That
Democratic
was
ticket.
Good luck.
But he's
Serbia's
got
president is
two more
the
years.
first by a Ukrainian president in 8 years. It came as Russian attacks
I think he'll
in
flip
its surrounding region killed 4 people.
at some point.
Zelensky said deliveries
Uh,
of Patriot air defense interceptors had
Good luck trying to primary him.
A new FBI report clarifying facts on
Yeah.
active shooter incidents.
The FBI recorded 34 active shooter incidents in 2025, most of them in commercial areas. Handguns were the most common weapon used. Notably, civilians intervened in more than 1 in 5 of the attacks and stopped the shooter in 7 cases. The report found that many of those successful interventions happened outside gun-free zones, which the FBI noted can delay an armed response. Willie Nelson, The White House.
More of these stories from townhall.com.
Larry Elder here. When it comes to supplements, 2 things matter most. It works and you can trust it. Rather than tell you about Relief Factor, we'll let our customers do it. We hear from people every day whose lives have changed, and we'd like you to hear their stories. Mark was in tears from his daily hand joint discomfort. But after a week on Relief Factor, he felt 50% better, and now he barely notices any pain. Loves our customer service. He's so happy, he's spreading the word. And Mark is just one of many. I'm one of them. I take Relief Factor every single morning for back issues. I don't take Relief Factor, my back issues come back. They make it easy to find out if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor gave you your life back. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Go to relieffactor.com. That's
$17.76.
800-4RELIEF, 800 the number 4
Okay.
relief. You connect with our friendly local team and they will do everything they can to help. We hope you'll soon be sharing your story with us as well. Relieffactor.com.
No.
800 the
I
number
won't be.
4 relief.
It was an uncomfortable moment for Democratic Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar in her home state.
Senator Klobuchar
That's
gets booed
hilarious.
at an event in Minnesota, the Farm Fest Gubernatorial Candidate Forum. This reaction from the crowd after she claimed she backed
Why was she even there anyway?
Our southern border with Mexico.
Farm Fest.
Funding for order at the border, and I have worked well with law enforcement in Minnesota for years. But what
I don't think that's exactly her crowd.
What?
Farm
Minnesota
Fest.
primaries
I don't
Tuesday,
think that's
Klobuchar
exactly her
was
crowd.
seven Democrats
No wonder why she
running,
got
but will
booed.
likely be the presumed nominee. Laura Winters reporting.
Many in the Howard
But that's
University
Minnesota,
committee
though. I
focused
mean,
on
It's
the
Minnesota, yeah.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
rather than the start of the new academic year.
But I mean,
Some of the
it's
students
so sparsely
voting this week were
populated
among
that,
200
I mean, the
reinstated by
city's
the
always
school
won.
after they were
That's why they,
unenrolled,
you know, that's why those people are
facing a tuition
elected.
deadline.
But I mean,
News and analysis at townhall.
she got booed off the stage.
She got booed. Yes.
Or you as adults are turning to artificial
Who else is
intelligence
running?
for financial advice.
But it's far
He's
from the
running on the
most
Republicans,
trusted
I think,
source
right?
of advice. That's according to a new Gallup survey conducted in partnership
It's
financial
Minnesota, so I
services firm
believe,
Edward Jones. About 1 in 5 Americans
Mike Lindell,
who
but
sought
Mike
financial guidance in the past
Lindell
year
ain't winning.
used AI,
He's
but
Minnesota?
fewer than 3 in 10 adults overall have any
He's not winning.
confidence in its expertise. That according to the
He's not
survey. The poll found a disconnect between the resources Americans
My
choose
Pillow
for
just-
financial advice and the
just
ones they
filed for
actually rely
bankruptcy.
on. Keith Peters,
New
Washington.
Mexico's Attorney General hopes a huge ruling against social
Everyone
media
didn't
giant
want to
Meta
buy his $90
announced a step in
pillows.
addressing how big tech can harm children. A New Mexico judge ordered Meta to pay $567 million and make changes to protect users under 18. The court found
Good.
Meta knowingly harmed children's mental health and concealed child exploitation. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Go out to Twitter. Go out to X next. Gonna go after all these social media sites. They do not do a good job protecting children. They don't. They do a terrible job protecting children. All right, here we go. Coming back. All right, welcome back. 7:36 a.m. here on a beautiful but kind of muggy Sunday morning, and hopefully today is the last day where it's going to be hot.
Little muggage out there, right?
Yeah, hopefully today is the last day where it's going to be hot, especially at night. Tonight's going to be another hot one. It was terrible sleeping last night. Absolutely terrible. I got 2 hours of sleep.
Well, we got one wall unit. We don't have central AC because we got one wall unit in the living room.
Yes.
And that's it. I know we got other ACs around. I'm not digging them out. I mean, just go with what we got. Well, you got your what was the electric bill last week? Last week we got it.
It's $78.
So we've been doing good.
Yeah, it's really
We've been doing really good. So that's
it went down from 160 in fall of 2025, somewhere around there. It was like 160 or something like that. In the fall of 2025 to now, we're approaching fall of 2026. It's down to $79 at least for this month. So that's pretty good.
And that's running a wall unit, 1980s air conditioner. I had this air conditioner for 20 years. It's old dependable.
No, we've cut down on our light usage quite a bit.
It's good. Shut your lights off.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. Sometimes you have little warm nights. A lot of people can't. But that's just probably being part of the summer. But you are doing your part to conserve energy.
Exactly.
And plus, you know, it's America. You can run everything you want, but you're gonna get a bill.
Exactly. And
it's a $400 electric bill.
At night we only have one light on. We make sure we only have one light on, and that is the kitchen overhead light near the window. Because you gotta have some light. Don't want to be walking out the
You know
dark.
what? I always unplug my all my lamps. I have a lamp upstairs. I always make sure my ceiling fan's shut off, and I always unplug my charger for my cell phone. I always unplug it all every time I leave my bedroom. That's just I've been doing this for years, and it's just I don't leave the room and all the lights are off. I shut the hall light off. Leave the hall light on when I'm sleeping.
Yes.
So when I have to come up, and then just shut everything on. And make sure the AC shut off. I mean, sometimes the AC runs. First thing you do is shut it off. And that's we don't have another freezer has a lot to do with it too.
We don't have a second freezer now.
Yeah, we have had a second freezer and a second refrigerator for all food. We had to throw all this frozen food away because it just went bad.
It was just old.
Yeah, it was just
years old.
I mean, just think of the end of the I thought the end of the world was coming.
Yeah.
But I mean, that wasn't the way to go.
No, and a lot of that food was wasted. I get it.
So freezer burnt, and then the thing is, if the refrigerator's freezer burnt, that means it's running even hotter.
Let's take a phone call. So, good morning, caller.
Well, good morning, Joe. Hey, Don, you got Joey in the headlock right now, so that he doesn't go get the mute button on my mic.
Oh, he's got the dump button. He's got the dump button ready to go. I don't even think he knows where the dump button is on this.
I do.
All right.
I do. I've never had to use it, thankfully.
Yeah.
Always the first time, Joe, and as I used to tell my 7 regular listeners, I will never dump you, but that doesn't mean I ain't gonna hang up.
Yeah. Have you been listening to the show? We got a question for you. Did you listen to?
I heard you talking earlier about the atomic bomb and Japan, and I had to do something, but I had a professor at Bridgewater State College who just recently passed away, named David Culver. And David Culver had done his PhD at BU. He's a Colgate graduate. His name is Anthony Fauci, by the way. And David Culver did his PhD on the decision to drop the atomic bomb on Japan. And so that people will know, we were fighting a war in the Pacific with Japan. We were fighting a war in Europe with the Italians, and Mussolini's fascists had been largely defeated by 43. 44 came the invasion of Europe at Normandy, and the war actually wasn't going well. But by the spring of 45, the Germans had largely been defeated and would ultimately surrender, and the U.S. turned its attention to the focus of the Pacific theater. Without going into great detail, the U.S. had been planning an atomic attack on Japan for some time because they had already contemplated what their strategy would be if we had to do a land-based invasion of Japan, the same way we did Europe in Normandy, and of course Italy at Antioch. And the casualty estimates were just horrible, and on both sides, because the Japanese would be defending their homeland. It was very rugged, mountainous terrain. There were only a few spots that would facilitate a land invasion, and the Americans had learned. By the way, we had intelligence, back then. We had people on the ground in Japan who were spies. We also had aerial photographs. Japanese had basically redeployed troops in anticipation of being invaded. And when they made the decision to go ahead with the atomic bomb, don't forget, Roosevelt didn't tell Truman about the atomic bomb, the vice president. And when Roosevelt died, a few months after the election in November of 44, they told Truman about it, and he relied on his military people to say, well, what do you think we ought to do? And as it turns out, several of the islands, we were originally going to bomb Japan from India with B-29 super fortresses, which become operational in 44. And they could fly longer, they could distances, they could carry heavier payloads. But they had been doing a targeted bombing of Japan, but the Japanese showed no intention of surrendering. And ultimately, the decision was made to go ahead and drop the bomb on Hiroshima. And the Japanese were warned. We said, we're going to do something to you that is, I don't want to sound like our current president, unprecedented in the history of warfare. And the Japanese, they decided, they told them, we're coming, and Hiroshima's the target, because it was a major industrial city, it was a major center of munitions factories and things that were related to war production. But the factories were all in and around population groups. Nagasaki was very different. It was picked as a target because it had heavy industrial sites, but they weren't within the city. And as such, the casualty count after the second bombing of Nagasaki was relatively low compared to the two. And I don't recall, I recall that the commander of the Nagasaki, and it was a group, there were 4 planes that were going to take off from 4 different spots, each with an atomic bomb. And one of them had to turn back, one of them had fuel problems. And ultimately, it fell to a captain named George Marquardt, who was, as I recall, from Kentucky. I don't recall a Massachusetts member of the second crew, but interestingly enough, the Japanese decided to surrender about 3 days after the Nagasaki bombing because they saw that, because Truman had made it clear, and the American military in the Pacific, led by the man who said that I shall return and did, that they could not win a war against a nuclear attack. So they surrendered aboard the Missouri. But interestingly enough, after the war, Paul Tibbets, who had been the commander of the group that included the Enola Gay that dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima, he toured the country giving speeches about U.S. military strength and strategy, and that we're in a nuclear age and we have to rethink things. Interestingly enough, George Marquardt, he was largely sidelined, and he developed very severe mental issues and was hospitalized several times because he would go somewhere. He was still in the military, and somebody would say, "Oh, you're the guy that dropped the second bomb." It's just, "Oh, nice to meet you," and it was like he had done nothing, But he had that same awesome, enormous weight, burden of knowing that tens of thousands of people were going to die because of what he did. And Paul Tibbets became a national hero, a celebrity. George Marquardt went on with his career in the military and waited in line like everybody else at the chow tent and things like that. And he developed psychological issues over the fact that he wasn't given the recognition because it was after Nagasaki that the Japanese decided to surrender, not Hiroshima.
So the pilot of Boxcar, the first plane, Charles Sweeney, was from Lowell.
Right, that's correct. But there was the group, the one that actually dropped the bomb was the Enola Gay, and then I think it was the severe wind or something like that Marquardt, the captain.
That was
There were 4 planes. There were 4 planes in each group, but only one of them was going to drop.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Enola Gay, obviously, the history was for Hiroshima, and then Boxcar was for Nagasaki.
Was for the 9th, yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Hey Jim, not to change the subject, but I got my $2. What do we do on Monday around here with my $2?
Well, I think that some of us might be, running. The unique thing about running, Don, is that it is the only competitive sport where 99% of the competitors, and it's know in advance, they're not going to win. They still do it. And it's called a fun run, Monday night. Race time is, we say, sharp as a number 2 pencil on test day at 6:30, but you got to sign up first. But if you signed up once, you signed up for the whole summer, and you just throw the $2 in the drawer, and we got somebody watching in case somebody tries to be a piker for the $2.
The $2? What's the finance
We'll
slips?
take your name right out of the results, and dozens of people will know that you didn't pay.
Do you have a finance officer for the $2? A little credit check going on there?
We have a security team that consists of 2 former pro football players and a former intelligence officer for the CIA. And there's a very, very small, but very, well, let's just say there's a dog there that in another life was a junkyard dog. But, dogs don't get to pick how they're reincarnated, neither do people.
Yeah, you know what? There's also, we talked about too on the service note here that running in groups is safer, especially if you're running on the roadways, that more people tend to slow down when they see people running in the groups and then just go running solo. So, I mean, safety-wise,
that's an
too.
absolute fact, Don.
Yeah.
That's an absolute, and I've been running since the 70s. I can tell you, when you're out running alone, and it's interesting to note that the Monday night thing started because there were women who didn't like running alone.
they felt vulnerable, and I felt that, and I agreed with them that a woman, even in a residential neighborhood in a nice town, if you want to use the phrase, they're very vulnerable when they're out running alone. And we began noticing, and I think if you look at the results, you'll see that it's skewed. It's about 60-40 women to men. And that is because women feel more comfortable when they're with other people, and particularly other women. And there's these little groups that they kind of just go out to jog a little bit and talk a little bit, and well, they murder the husbands and during when they're out there running, but everybody has fun. And motorists, when they see a group of people coming at them, I've seen it happen. The South Main Street's got a breakdown lane, it's got a bike lane, it's got a sidewalk, both sides. But even so, that's when it's a big, when you start off at the beginning, it's a big clutch of people, a pod. And over time, they call it telescopes. That the 7-minute mile people were separating themselves from the 8s, and 8s from the 9s and the 10s, so that, and you reach, the mid pack is where, that you talk about the bell curve. This race is heavily skewed towards the mid pack and back of the pack. It's a lot of people who might not be that fast, but they still enjoy running and the exercise and what it does. There's lots of, University of Pennsylvania has a very extensive sports education program, and most of the studies you hear about running and a lot of sports things, that's where they come from. But they have shown that people's mental health improves when they run, their social life improves, their relations with their family members, co-workers, all improve. And that doesn't mean that they're going to win the Boston Marathon or win a gold medal in the Olympics, but the act of getting out there and challenging yourself and doing something, there's a sense of accomplishment. We've got, as you look at the results, and I want to thank Ron Lancaster for talking about the race. He goes through the results. We've got 2 or 3 people who are in their 80s who come almost every week. One of them I know comes every week, and they're just out there because they're trying to keep their cardio system up and keep their bone density up, and this contributes to longer, healthier life. And if you're still able to run, 3 miles when you're 82 or 4, well, you probably did something in the 50 or 60 years that preceded it that enabled you to do so. And I myself, just as a social note here, I had major surgery 4 weeks ago tomorrow, in which it turned out my spine had become detached from its mooring points at the bottom of L5, literally. And I underwent a 6-hour operation that reattached it and repositioned. My spine at one point was 4 inches off center. And but I spent a number of days in the hospital, a number of days in rehab, and I am able to walk now. I did see my surgeon 2 days ago, and he said I should be able to do some actual jogging within a couple of weeks. But he did tell me to take it easy and not go out there and try to break Roger Bannister's 4-minute mile record. So. But Don, you and Joe, if you want to come, we have a table set up where we give out Gatorade and water. If you want to help out there, we can always use an extra set of hands. We kind of pour it ourselves. We usually have a couple of volunteers. Myself.
That sounds good. We'll do a celebrity. Yeah.
We'll do it appearance.
Yeah, we'll do a celebrity appearance.
I do real quick want to not to change the subject again. By the way, Monday 6 p.m. sign up. 6:30 p.m. the race starts in Raynham, King Philip Street. Be there if you want to run. Great event every single Monday.
And no, you don't have to join the Colonial Road Runners to run. But I'm going to warn you, they're a fun bunch of people, and you're going to want to join.
So not to change the subject again, but I have a list of 5 World War II battles, and I want to get your opinion on it, Don, and Jim's opinion on it. These are the 5 battles I think are probably the most important battles when it comes to what it shows us when it comes to the eventual outcome of the war. Invasion of Sicily, Battle of Midway, Stalingrad, Operation Market Garden, and D-Day. What are your thoughts? We'll start with Jim.
Well, I'm going to say that Midway was probably the seminal battle for the war against Japan, because Japan was actually, I mean, you want to talk about border security, and I don't mean to digress, but when have we ever secured the border with Mexico? And the Japanese had an active plan to invade America through Mexico, but they needed Midway Island in order to do it. And that effectively staved off an invasion by the Japanese of the American mainland. So that one's very important. Normandy was important because, as we're finding out in Iran, you can't win a war from the air. We could bomb Germany 24 hours a day for 2 years and they would still fight on. So the Allies knew that they needed to land, invade Europe and then retake Europe and by force and retake Germany by force to end the war. So Normandy was huge in that sense, because that effectively turned the tide in Europe. So I would say, and Sicily was important only in as much as we knew that if the fascist government of Mussolini was still active, they would be forever interfering with our efforts to overtake the Nazis in Europe, in France in particular, in Germany, and the Low Countries. So I would say those would be the top three, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the reason why I had Operation Market Garden in there is because if that had succeeded, I think the war would have been over by Christmas, in my opinion.
I don't disagree, but you know that's woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know, who knows?
Jim,
But you're right.
they got a question about what's going on in Iran right now. Now you start to see Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, I'm not sure Bahrain, UAE, and other countries starting to do offensive strikes into Iran, along with the United States too. But now, for the first time, Iran is petrified to even go near Israel, even breathe on Israel. Israel was the country that always got like missiles thrown at it and stuff by Iran. For some reason, they don't want, they don't. So, would you call that a deterrence as far as, they don't even want to go even near Israel. They don't want to breathe on Israel because they know what happens.
Well, let me just disagree by saying that Iran never once directly attacked Israel, but I think Hamas and Hezbollah in particular, I don't think these guys had big sales to get billions of dollars of military-grade weapons.
No, right.
Which, amongst other things, enabled them to attack Israel.
Which is degraded big time. But Iran, did in April of 23, they did send missiles over towards Israel. Now they're not going anywhere near Israel. I mean, nowhere as like a frontal attack, because they're so petrified that if Israel got back into it, and Israel's trying to stay out of it. They're trying to stay out of it, whatever.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say that Iran realized that strategically there was no benefit to hobbling Israel, that the real enemy was the United States. And as such, this is why you continue to see unrestrained attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And I just have, because I'm not a fan of this administration, although I'm not a Trump hater or anything, but the reason that the United States never attacked Iran directly, going back to September 11th, 2001, the reason that the United States never attacked Iran directly was because they said Iran would be able to survive any air attack we had and continue to harass shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, so leave them alone, but tried to isolate them. Turkey, India, and Pakistan have recently formed a formal alliance for the first time, and they are Sunni Muslim nations for the first time. And This is a regional alliance aimed specifically at confronting Iran should Iran make aggressive moves towards them. So I think that the Israeli situation, if you wanted to end the war in Gaza, all President Trump has to do is shut off aid to Israel. Israel gets more. If you took all of the foreign aid the United States gives, every other country combined, domestic and military, it would not equal 1/10 of what we give to Israel on an annual basis. But Israel, however, they are sort of surrounded by countries that refuse to recognize them. And that's why, unless and until the Arab world decides to recognize Israel's right to exist, they talk about a two-state solution. You're going to have a two-state solution. You've got to have one to begin with, and none of the Arab countries there recognize Israel. And until that happens, you will never have peace in the Middle East. Iran is a huge economic power. It is a huge military power. It is at the nexus, central point of all things in the Middle East. And as such, you know, they have plenty of people in the Arab world in those countries, including Saudi Arabia, who support Iran. There are plenty of people over there who think America is a terrible thing and we should be destroyed. So they're not going to give up from an air war. And I think it was a wrong decision to enter into one under the premise that they would just run up a white flag and say, okay, come over here, reorganize our government, and we'll all go to jail. Thanks very much. That was ridiculous as a premise. And now we're finding out that Iran has tremendous staying power. And, you know, that Hexbeth tremendously underestimated Iran's survivability.
And with that, it's 8 o'clock. Real quick, our birthdays: Bob Cousy, Ken Norton, Sam Elliott, Whitney Houston, Deion Sanders, Chris Cuomo. Our passings on this day: Bernie Mac and Ted Stevens. Jim DuPont, I want to thank you for calling in today.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
Yep. See you soon. Bye-bye. That was Jim DuPont giving us a call. And it's 8:01. Dawn, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
We are AM 1530, WVBS Middleboro, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleboro Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. The Senate confirming Todd Blanche as the next Attorney General.
It was by the narrowest of margins and overnight, but the Republican-led Senate has confirmed acting Attorney General Todd Blanche as the new Attorney General in a 50-49 vote. This after Republican Senators Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska said they would oppose Blanche's confirmation. Blanche says on social media that he's deeply honored by the trust and confidence President Trump has